Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Collider Games Podcast. My name is Dennis Den. We got a full house today. First off, Dorian.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Dorian here.
And join us for the first time in studio on this podcast, we have Chris Lamb. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we're going to talk some games. And then, as always, on Skype, we've got Caboose, who's right here in the center here. How you doing, Caboose?
Hello. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Just itching to jump back into Anthem right now.
Yeah. That's something we will get to a little bit. Last year, last week, we had a little... It wasn't our fault. It was the servers for EA kind of were messed up, so we didn't get to play that. But you did. You put up an impressions video, but then we all got to play it earlier today. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's talk about the first... The first two topics to me are, they're obviously not the same game. They're not the same developers, but they kind of go hand in hand in terms of the style of game, the source material. First one is, Caboose, you reported on the Spider-Man 2 in development. Can you give us a little more details about that?
Right. So just about last week, there were some tweets, some cryptic tweets being put up from some people at Insomniac and Marvel Games. So someone at Marvel Games was like, oh, I just got something on my desk that I was reading. It's going to be a couple of great years ahead. And then someone at Insomniac was like, there's nothing more nerve-wracking than sending in your first story draft. So people are starting to speculate, that they got the green light for Spider-Man 2. They're already working on it, and they're getting the first story draft and everything ready to go. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, although we won't hear anything about this officially for a little while, I think without a shadow of a doubt, there's a Spider-Man sequel in development in Insomniac right now, because there's no way that they wouldn't have the go-ahead to do so. Like, totally. Spider-Man PS4 made a ton of money.
Yes. And sold a lot of systems.
It sold like crazy. I think it's the highest selling PlayStation exclusive of all time, if I got that right. So, yeah, there's no way. Honestly, I'd expect this was probably in development since like maybe 2 months ago, honestly. So,
Right.
Fantastic Four suits also were finally released. They had teased that, and then they were released. So it wasn't DLC, just the suits, right?
Just some suits. Yeah. We got the Future Foundation suit, which in the comics, it's when Spider-Man joins the Fantastic Four, and they rename themselves the Future Foundation. And then we got the Bagman suit, which is a classic. Spider-Man running around with a paper bag over his head, and he's wearing a Fantastic Four suit. It's great. I love it. Okay. I mean, the Spider-Man 2 in development, it's a no-brainer. We know that it sold so many copies, and it sold so many systems for the PlayStation, for Sony. Now, the bigger question is, are they developing it for this console generation, or are they developing it for the next console generation?
Ooh.
Because I'd say
what was the cycle on this one, on the first one?
What do you mean?
Like how many years in development was the first Insomniac Spider-Man game?
I think I heard 3 years. It was announced 2 years ago, but that was it was already being worked on by that time. So I'd say 3 years from what I remember hearing. Okay, so that means hypothetically, if they start now, 3 years from now, is it going to be on the PS4 or the PS5? What do you think, Dorian?
I could see them. Maybe could they possibly do it for both? Like, because I think that would be the better option. Is here's we're going to release it maybe at higher quality on the PS5, but don't exclude the PS4 fans, because I know a lot of Spider-Man fans that specifically bought a PS4 just for the Spider-Man game. So I 2 or 3 years down the road, I still have my PS4 from when I bought it originally. So I know those same fans wouldn't want to just shell out more money for another console right off the bat after just getting this one for this Spider-Man game. Like, Sony's like, oh wait, now we got to get another one for a new Spider-Man game. Sony, come on now. So I think that would be smart to just release them on both consoles rather than make it exclusive for the Sony. I mean, for the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, because Nintendo did exactly that for Legend of Zelda, for GameCube to Wii U, for Twilight Princess, I believe, and also maybe not Twilight Princess, but definitely with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and speaking of Nintendo, I forgot to put this on the notes. The rumors they're going to come out with a new Switch, a smaller version, a cheaper version sometime this year. I don't. Because
I might need that.
Yeah, because they've sold I think 32 million consoles already, and I guess maybe they just want because what's the cost of a Nintendo Switch right now?
300.
Like $299. Yeah, 300.
Yeah.
300.
It's
Okay.
like $450.
Yeah. So
because our dollar is garbage.
Caboose, what do you think? Spider-Man 2 on PS4, PS5, or both?
I can see both sides of it, honestly. I can see it ending up coming out on both consoles, the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. But if we're under the assumption that the PlayStation 5 does potentially launch next year, then by the time that we could be seeing a Spider-Man sequel, it'll have been 2 years since that new console is out. So there also could be a scenario where they're like, hey, this is for the PlayStation 5. We need the power of that console to really make this game work. And I mean, it'd be a smart business decision. Just like you mentioned, a ton of people bought PlayStation 4s just for Spider-Man PS4. So imagine it's exclusive to the PlayStation 5. How many people are going to be buying that console? So, but honestly, I think logically it'll probably be on the PlayStation 4 and the
4
PlayStation
and 5. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say it's only going to be on PS5. I think.
Okay.
I think if the 3-year development cycle, by that time, like you said, it's going to be out, the new one will be out 2 years. It's not like it'll be like, I can understand if it just came out, but it'll be 2 years into that. Plus, they want to, not just sell the copies, but they're trying to sell the console. So I think they want people to upgrade. So they'll maybe take a hit in, let's say, selling less copies for PS4 because it's a larger installed base, and go for let's sell the new system to get people on there. So my prediction is PS5 only.
I could see them doing like how they usually do when a new console, you can bring back your old console, trade it in, get a discount, like a major discount, and maybe if you have if you bought the Spider-Man, like the new one, the red one for PS4, if you return that one, maybe you get a bigger discount or something. If they do,
I would want to return that if I got it though.
True.
I want to hold on to that.
I just think that as long as they don't turn it into Assassin's Creed, we're good.
Like a title every year?
Yeah.
A title every year.
No.
So no, I don't think so. I think games need more development cycles than that, and Call of Duty's every year. It's just a little bit much. On the other side of this, Rocksteady's next game could be Batman Arkham Crisis. You have any news about this? Because you had talked about a new game, but I think this Arkham Crisis like storyline, you mentioned Court of Owls. Well, what's the deal with this?
So from what I'm hearing, and honestly it's why it makes it so not believable for me, is apparently someone in like a Discord chat said that they were a game tester, and this is where all the information is coming from. I'll tell you what, I don't really have any inside info, but I'm 99.9% sure Rocksteady is not making a Batman game.
Wow.
Whatever Batman game we're getting is coming from WB Montreal, the folks who did Arkham Origins. So yeah, I don't think that this has too much credence. I don't think that this is true, this rumor about Arkham Crisis. I mean, all of it sounds great. A map 1.7 times the size of Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, that sounds awesome. That's everything I would love to see. But I highly, highly doubt that this is real because of the fact that the rumor strictly says that Rocksteady is working on it. And since Arkham Knight, they said they were done with Batman. And then they did the VR game, and that was just kind of a one and done thing. So I'm very confident in saying that this is not true.
Okay. So you think the next Batman Arkham game is going to be developed by the WB Montreal?
Yes.
Okay.
And it will most likely feature the Court of Owls.
Okay.
So that much I think is true.
Okay, let me ask you guys this, and I know Dorian, Spider-Man is your favorite game of all time. Is that what you said?
I think maybe.
Did I say that?
Okay.
Anyways. And I think Caboose, before Red Dead, I think one of the Arkham games was one of your favorite.
Arkham City.
Yeah. Arkham City was your favorite. I don't know, Chris, what your relationship with either one of those video game franchises are.
Yeah, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City were my favorite.
Okay.
I honestly kind of fell off after that because I was like, oh, it feels like they're kind of adding like a lot of things that I don't really need. And I'm personally the type of person that is not like doesn't really feel anything when I don't feel anything like in general, but I really don't feel anything when games are like, oh, it's gonna be like bigger than Grand Theft Auto. It's gonna be 3 times bigger than Skyrim. I'm like, oh, that just sounds like work now. Like going through things and like there's gonna be like more side quests that are gonna put in and not all of them are gonna be good.
Skyrim was too big for me. Like walking around that map, I remember just it was too large.
Right, and I happened to do the research that GTA is bigger than Skyrim, and for the news that I read on Batman is that Batman is going to be bigger than GTA.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And honestly, you know what else just doesn't really add up for me when I'm reading this too? So apparently the map size 1.7 times bigger than GTA 5, right? And it's going to have a 12-hour story. That's it. Like, for a map size that massive, your story is going to be 12 hours. That's ridiculous to me. I mean, it sounds like it's still long, but trust me, in comparison to a size of a map that big, you're going to run out of things to do real quick if you're running through the story that quick.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty concerning to me. I didn't know that.
All right. Yeah. So let me propose this question. Doran, you can start off.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to? Playing Spider-Man 2 or the next Batman Arkham game, whether it's from Rocksteady or WB Montreal?
All right. Y'all, you already know my answer. It's Spider-Man 2, especially how they left off on with the DLC with Miles Morales. Like it's him and Peter Parker jumping off a building. So that already leads me to the Spider-Man 2 will already have a trained Miles, and and me and Caboose and Coy, we already did like a whole theory video on what we want to see. And I think Caboose, you said we want to all see like Venom and Green Goblin and all that. So I'm more excited for Spider-Man 2 than whatever game we get from from WB or Rocksteady. But I am excited for them nonetheless. Don't think I'm a Marvel shill because
I think it's just more fresh, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's just more like
newer.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you? What would you be anticipating more?
Oh, Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Like I mean, like I said, I kind of fell off and like it feels. I can already tell that it feels better to traverse like a semi-city open world like Spider-Man than it does with Batman. Even though Batman is great, but yeah, it's what I said. It just feels more fresh, and I mean, I love the voice actors, Yuri and Laura. They're both super talented.
Yeah.
Caboose, what about you?
Well, actually, funny enough, the reason that I'd be more anticipated for Batman is because Spider-Man is so fresh. You know, like I just
you want to break. You want to break.
Yeah, not that I want to break, but that Spider-Man just came out. It's been so long since we've seen a Batman game, you know, and I want to see what they'd have planned if they want to still connect it to like the Arkham franchise, because after Arkham Knight, some big things went down at the end of that game. So if they're planning to continue from there or make it some sort of prequel, that's what I want to see. I want to see what they're planning with the story. And yeah, I miss Batman. I love Spider-Man. Spider-Man PS4 is awesome. And in my opinion, it is way more fun to be free roaming in Spider-Man than Batman games for sure. It's just more fast, it's more fluid. But because it's been so long since we've had a Batman game, like 4 years now almost, since Arkham Knight, I need some more Batman. I need to see what we got going on there.
I feel you.
All right, cool. Let's move on to the next topic. Kingdom Hearts 3. So this is a game that we here at Collider Games got a lot of crap for because we weren't talking about it last week. I just know that me and Dorian Caboose none of you have played any of the other.
I haven't played the other ones either.
Yeah.
I have. That's why I'm here.
So we brought Chris in.
Literally the only reason why I'm here.
To talk about Kingdom Hearts 3. So as the rest of us are like very, I don't know, naive or ignorant of Kingdom Hearts. The only thing I know about it is that it's by Square Enix. It's an RPG.
Yes.
It involves a lot of Disney characters in this.
Uh-huh.
So what is it that attracts so many fans to this? Like, what do they do differently than, let's say, a normal RPG?
You mean besides taking 13 years to make the third game?
Besides that.
Yeah, I would say that it's the Disney characters for sure, and like actually being able to interact with them. That's definitely like an amazing feeling. I think that the music is amazing. The character design is amazing. I mean, the director Tetsuya Nomura, he's like known for designing. Like he got his start designing characters in previous Final Fantasy games. It's the color palette, the like how like all of the beautiful particle effects and the graphics relative to each time period, obviously. I hesitate to say the story because like the story kind of draws people in, but it's also like really fucking complicated and like.
Isn't most Japanese RPGs pretty complicated?
Not as complicated as Kingdom Hearts. Okay. Because okay, see the thing is that the only reason why Kingdom Hearts is so complicated is because they had a bunch of spin-off games for different consoles each, which is bonkers to me. Like there was one for the PSP. There was one for the DS. There was one for the GBA. There was one for cell phone. There was one for
So they're just trying to get you to buy a bunch of different systems.
Yeah, and like Tetsuya, he always uses the excuse of like, oh well, I want people that don't have a PlayStation to be able to play Kingdom Hearts. I'm like,
well, then just multi-platform the one game.
Yeah, and I'm like, but you're adding story elements to it. To like the main story with each quote unquote spin-off, so it's not even a real spin-off. So I think there's also like like when a story's really complicated, like I don't know, like I know that this was the case with a lot of fans of like the Homestuck series. That it's that really famous online saga that like you kind of feel invested because you spent so much time and money sticking with the story. You're like, okay, no matter how bad it is and no matter how confusing it is, like I need to keep up because like I invested so much in this, and also like
that's people with TV series. People do that. They'll watch way past their interest level. They're like, I've already, watched this so long, and they don't want to quit.
That's me with Arrow. Arrow's had its rough patches throughout the series, but continue. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I mean, I think people feel the same way about like any long running TV show like Grey's Anatomy, especially. I think, but I'm saying a lot of like negative things about the game, but like I do think what really drew people in was like the first and the second mainline games because they were just so beautiful, and even though sometimes it didn't make the most sense, like. It did elicit a lot of feelings and a lot of emotion, and I just wish that they pared it down a little bit, but still, it was like... Yeah.
But they mix, like the Final Fantasy characters with the Disney characters, and the Disney characters we're not talking just like Minnie, Mickey, no, like it's like Pirates of the Caribbean, like Jack Sparrow.
Yeah,
like,
people have weird feelings about that, but yes.
Yeah, so...
Does Donald Duck have a Glock?
Is there any Marvel characters in Kingdom Hearts 3?
Is there any Marvel characters in there? Probably not, right? Because
is that a spoiler?
I don't think so.
Okay. Star Wars? No Star Wars.
People really wanted Star Wars, and I would have been supportive of that, even though it still would have been kind of weird because like you're having like anime-ish characters like interact with like real life looking characters. I mean, that was the same issue that people had with Pirates of the Caribbean. So. And people were kind of weirded out that they did Pirates of the Caribbean again in number 3 because they first appeared in number 2. I would have been in support of Star Wars, but I think they might have felt like, oh, like Darth Vader's like a little bit too like dark and serious for
So this is for kids then. I mean, not for kids, but I mean they
it's
want kid friendly. Yeah. Like just like the Pixar movies are. They're for kids. They're for families. Adults can enjoy them as well, but they don't want to, make it too scary or too dark or too violent.
Yeah, like there's no blood ever, and for the
so how do you fight?
You fight using the Keyblade.
Okay, the Keyblade, and then when you hit people with it, does it just make like some sparkles or something? Okay,
beautiful sparkles, by the way, some beautiful sparkles. So there's sparkles, and like when people die, they don't die, like they just lose their heart, and they turn into like monsters.
I don't know, that might be more frightening.
Yeah, that's true. No, you know what? That's true. And again, even though it's not dark, they still put Pirates of the Caribbean in. Like Pirates of the Caribbean is like a decently adult story ish. Like
especially Jack Sparrow being drunkard.
Yeah, like drunk and like there's like they use like there's guns and like they slit Elizabeth's hand right for the coin.
Wait, does Donald Duck actually? Because I saw a picture online. Of
Yeah.
Does he have a gun in the game or? I don't think that. I think that was just a meme.
I think that might have been like one of those like magical team attacks. So it's not like a real gun that shoots bullets. It's like a gun that shoots like beams and shit. Probably or like confetti.
Because somebody quoted it was like his name was Donald. You better motherfucking duck.
I love that.
Nice. So overall, Kingdom Hearts 3 did it live up to expectation? I mean, you said 13 years since the last one. Have you finished
the last main one?
Have you finished it?
No, I have not finished it because I'm an adult who has to do work, unfortunately, this week.
That's why we were just getting to our Red Dead Redemption spoiler review that we're going to shoot after this.
Right.
Because we had, work and all kinds of other stuff.
But so far, it does live up to expectations. Like, they really improved the combat system. Like, something as simple as, like, being able to, like, glide while you cast a spell is, like, really nice. So it feels like you're always moving. And so the combat system is great. The graphics look amazing. Everybody has like really great reactions and stuff. And
I saw there was like a selfie mode in there too.
Yes,
like
there is a selfie mode in there.
That's so cool.
It's very, very cute.
That's cool.
From what I read though from like other reviews, and I was totally expecting this even before the reviews came out, is that the game gets hampered down because the game tries to tie up so many loose ends because of all of the spin-offs that I just mentioned.
Okay.
So, yeah, I was expecting it, but I was like, I'm going to buy it. Like, if not because I like Kingdom Hearts, it's so I can be finally released from this misery.
So are you done? Are you done with the franchise after this, or
if they release more stuff? I mean, there's still ongoing stuff. There's like an online like mobile game out right now that is actually important to the backstory of the entire world. Oddly enough, I'm probably gonna play it a little bit after I finish, maybe.
Okay. And then story-wise, is it good? Comparable to the last couple, or just more complicated?
That's such a hard. I don't think it gets more complicated because they're trying to wrap stuff up. But like it's so hard to say because it's like everything that's in that story is in response to everything that's been introduced before, and so it's hard for me to compare like, oh, how's the writing? Because like the only thing I care about the writing at this point is like, are you going to explain what happens? Because otherwise, like,
I don't know. Sometimes explanations don't help because like something like Lost. There were certain things they explained that I thought was cool in the last season, and there's certain things they explained that I was like, that's stupid, and I wish I'd never seen that or known that. So
yeah, you use one of your connections to talk to Tetsuya because you should tell him that because that's one of his main problems. He tries to explain things too much when like there's like in the first game it's like, oh, like it's okay that I can just like you have that sense of wonderment and mystery where like nothing is just ever really explained.
Yeah, sometimes you don't need mystery. Not all mysteries need to be explained.
Yeah,
right.
Some stories don't need to be
leave
told.
Stuff open-ended.
And so you have to have played the other games to actually understand this game, or could you just jump into this game?
So from what I read from reviews, you don't, but I personally kind of doubt it. But there are. I'm sure you can imagine, like just because of the age of the internet video that we live in, that so many people have released like. The entire Kingdom Hearts story explained.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Leaderboard did a really good one. And so you can just watch it and
just jump in.
Or if you got a lot of time, you can watch. I'm sure there's like a walkthrough of the first two games because I just like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like you can go online and watch a walkthrough of the first game. It's 11 hours.
Right.
It's 11 hours. I think they cut out all the like horse like riding time, and I think the game ends up only being 11 hours. And if you don't do any of the side missions and whatnot, and just playing through the main storyline,
side note, Red Dead. So with Red Dead, because isn't the second game a prequel?
Yes.
So I can go and play the first game, and it would be like
it connects.
It would connect.
It connects.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I will warn you, the first game is not as good as the second game.
I fell off of the first Red Dead pretty quickly.
The first one it was like a really good idea, and look, it's a great game. It just
I think it was good for its time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think it fully did what the second one. The second one is the one that fully realized the potential of what a Western video game could be. Where the first one was like, it was half in the GTA world, and half in the Western world, and it had too much of the like random side quest things that didn't really matter. Where the second one still has like those things, but it has so much main storyline that you're definitely satisfied. But anyways, so anything else about Kingdom Hearts 3 that you want to talk about that you think people should know before they buy it? People who are either fans of the franchise or newcomers. Would you recommend it? You're recommending it, right?
Yeah, of course I would recommend it. If not for the ability to interact with like more of the recent Disney worlds, like Frozen and Tangled, and Toy Story. Like, by the way, which they do a really good job of like it looks exactly like the movie. Then like for the good battle system, and if not for the battle system, then for the cute characters.
Is it a turn-based?
No,
no. Okay.
It's real time combat.
Because I know Japanese. They do have a lot of turn-based
Final Fantasy
battle systems.
Yeah, I think, but I do think that like they've realized that, and they're like really moving away from that. Yeah. It's Final Fantasy 15, that was not a turn-based combat system.
Yeah.
Persona 5 was a turn-based combat system, but like I give them a pass because they actually make it exciting, because they have like the whole like you get an extra turn if you use a weakness thing, which Final Fantasy did not have.
Oh, okay.
That's my 2 cents.
All right. All right. Moving on. So last week we had wanted to do, and we talked about Anthem. We watched the demo live on IGN, but what we wanted to do was actually play the game to talk about it. So Caboose got on the VIP access, but the morning of the recording of last week's podcast, the servers were all screwy.
Oh, I read about that.
Yes. Yeah. So we talked about it on the show. So he didn't actually get to play it that day. He played it later. We have his first impressions up on the YouTube channel. But they released the demo for everyone to play today, this morning, and we preloaded it and didn't have too much. I mean, there was a little bit of hiccups in terms of getting on. But it was nothing like what Caboose experienced last week.
No, definitely not.
And so all three of us got to play the game. Since Caboose, you already have your first impressions. Let's go to Dorian first. Dorian, what's your first impression? Because you didn't play a lot of the BioWare games. Right. This game you kind of like you knew about, but you didn't really get excited until more recently. What did the demo do for you?
I'm so excited for this game now. I think I said Rage 2 was one of my most anticipated games, but this is definitely my most anticipated game of the recent games that are going to come out. Like, it really surpassed my expectations. I was just right from the jump. Didn't feel like there weren't any glitches or any bugs or anything like that, and just the flying, like just how you get around. It threw me off a little, not threw me off, but it took me a little bit to get used to. But once I got the controls, it was just so awesome to just like fly around through the sky like Iron Man. And then there was one time where we all said we're going to customize our own suits, and then we ended up all doing a War Machine type suit. So I thought that was cool though. Like it's cool how you can customize the customizable features, but just the gameplay looks gorgeous. I did not expect it to look that good, and we had it on the big screen out there. So just seeing it up close like that, it really surpassed my expectations. And now I'm going to actually go out and buy this. This was not on my
radar.
Yeah, this was not on my to buy list at all. But now I'm a fan of Anthem, and I can't wait to do it, because you can do it you can do one player by yourself. But it was so awesome to like having you and Caboose, like even though you were talking to me in person, like us going and doing missions together and like killing whatever those things are called and all those aliens. It was dope.
Yeah, and it had quite a variety of enemies, considering we only played 2 levels. Yeah. So I don't know, further on in the game, but I like that, because you don't want to kill the same enemies over and over again. Yeah. I found the controls to be very smooth. Graphics obviously beautiful. It felt like to me I was playing Mass Effect, except for you took out the RPG elements, and it was just the combat system, and you could fly around. So it definitely had, even though there's like, is this have the BioWare feel? I felt like at least the combat definitely had the BioWare feel to it. Story-wise, I'm still undecided because what we played had a little bit of story in it, but we couldn't tell what was going on and why. And
they jump you in a little bit into the story already just for the sake of the demo having you progressed a bit so you can enjoy some things. So yeah, the jury's still out on the story.
So for people who haven't played it before, like me, like what type of storytelling did they do? Was it like you talk while you're moving around, like on your intercom, like in a lot of games now, or was it like cutscenes, or was it was there like dialogue?
I didn't see any cutscenes so far. I think there will be cutscenes in the actual game.
Yeah, so there's like a hub world that you go to, and that's kind of a majority of where you get like quote unquote cutscenes.
Okay.
You know, you have like it'll show like cinematic camera angles and stuff, and it's all about the dialogue and everything. But then outside of that, from what I can tell, just from the demo, a lot of the story comes from, just like you said, you know, the intercom. You're in the middle of the mission, and people are talking to you and stuff.
Okay.
So
find items.
I hope in the full story or in the full game there is like a decent story at best. You know, I'm at the point where I'm not expecting it to be this crazy amazing story, but the gameplay really makes up for that. So if I get an okay story, I can live with that.
Destiny. I'm just kidding.
I'm kidding.
Yes. I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is very Destiny-like, but just from a third-person perspective.
Right. I was just talking to Dorian right before we recorded, and he, I got the impression that it's even though like people joke that it's like Destiny, it's not Destiny.
No. I mean, I found it a lot like the old Phantasy Star Online game where you pair up with 3 other people, just like this one, and you go around and complete missions, and you upgrade your weapons. It had the damages that you're incurring on the enemies. It had that feel to it, and then you upgrade your guns and your armor, and you have different slots. But obviously, it's going to be much more complex than Phantasy Star Online because that was a game that came out in, I think, 2000 or 2001. Yeah, 2001. And, you know, at that time, they didn't have, you know, voice chat. You're like literally typing on a keyboard to talk to people. Like, hey, grab this, blah, blah, blah. And it was very limited. It was like 5 levels. Each level or each stage had like 3 different levels. So it was a very short game that you just had to play over and over. But it had that feel to me like that. So, and it's very addictive because you know, you just want to upgrade more. You want to upgrade your weapons. You want to upgrade your armor. You want to, you know, Caboose, you did a video on microtransactions for this game. So that's something people are going to be a little wary about.
So to clear some things up, because I took a little heat for this. So there was a leak that came out, right? And it was a sort of first look, a leaked image of what the microtransactions were going to be like in Anthem. The things that I do want to mention is there are no loot boxes in the game. None of the microtransactions are pay to win. It's all cosmetic only. So anything that you want to pay additionally for in Anthem is simply to make your guy look cooler.
I like that.
That's totally fine.
Overwatch.
The only thing that was outrageous, so the only thing that was outrageous was they showed the prices of these microtransactions. They showed like an image, and it looked kind of like Fortnite's item shop, if anyone knows and is familiar with that. You have like 2 featured items and a bunch of kind of just small little items that don't really matter too much. But the featured items were like $20 up top, and it was like in an armor pack, you know? And for me, I'm like, that is ridiculous. I am not going to pay 1/3 of the price of the game to get 1 armor pack. That's nuts.
At least let us have the game for free for that.
Well, you can grind to get it, but it's like...
You can earn it.
But it takes a while.
Yeah, the in-game currency and the way that the progression works with that is pretty difficult. The thing is, though, the saving grace of it all, this image leaked out. A lot of people were upset about it, and folks over at BioWare actually spoke out about this, and they were like, hey, don't worry, this is just an iteration, you know, like this is not the final pricing on everything. I don't know if maybe they're saying that now because it leaked out. You know, I'm wondering if
you can't see me right now, but I'm making a face right now. I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. So, like, what I'm wondering is, if this didn't leak out, would this just end up being what the price would have been in the game, But granted, it leaked out. BioWare was like, hey, this is not the final pricing. We're working on that still. This is why we don't talk about this stuff, because up until the day of release, we could be working on the pricing of the cosmetic microtransactions. So honestly, that's fine. Like, at the end of the day, the reason that I took heat is because everyone was like, oh, it's just cosmetics. It's just cosmetics. It doesn't matter. And honestly, for me, it's just the principle of it,
Totally.
You're totally, like, what they're putting out there, you cannot be charging, in good faith, you cannot be charging someone $20 for skin in your $60 game. That's just ridiculous, And that's unfortunately, that's what me and Dennis, me and you, we've been saying. We're cautiously optimistic about this. That's what I was cautiously optimistic about, is because EA is publishing it. So it's not necessarily BioWare that's making these decisions. That all probably comes from EA. But because they kind of have the final say on it, that's why we could end up getting some stuff. And honestly, even if it's $10, I still think that's too much.
It is.
I don't want to be paying that much for a skin in the game that I already paid for, And granted, apparently they're coming out with free DLC and stuff. That's good on them. I know that they gotta kind of have income flowing in to be able to support stuff like free DLC and allowing the game to have the longevity of like 1, 2, 3 years. But there's a good way to go about that, and a good way to have people be like, okay, I will spend the extra money for you guys, without making it seem too much like a shady business tactic.
Yeah. I do like that it's cosmetic only. It's not like you're trying to pay to win or pay. Yeah. And also, it's not a PvP game, at least not yet. And so you're not trying to get a competitive advantage over anyone. You're just cosmetic stuff.
If they did a battle royale mode for this game, oh boy, that would be fire.
Yeah.
I would be sick.
Yeah.
Do it, EA or BioWare.
There is no PvP though, apparently.
Huh?
Yeah. There is no PvP apparently for Anthem.
Yeah, not right now. They'll make it happen one day.
Not right now.
Yeah. All right. All right. Let's move on to Mortal Kombat 11. What are some of the updates? You had talked about them teasing a previous character in Mortal Kombat, and possibly did that actually come about?
So we were supposed to have a live stream this week, back on, I think, Wednesday, January 30th. There was supposed to be a live stream revealing Cabal from Mortal Kombat 9, if anyone remembers. Very popular character, like the Mortal Kombat franchise. Everyone was excited for him to return. That stream got delayed. The weather is rough in Chicago. Yeah. So, Sub-Zero's running around there or something. So they had to delay that. The new stream is taking place on Tuesday, but there was also a reveal event in Brazil that took place yesterday, and they revealed that Kano is coming back to the game. Okay. They showed off his design. They showed off, actually, as well, an exclusive skin that fans in Brazil will have access to.
But not here, right?
Bro, not here.
Everybody's getting all these exclusive skins besides us.
I don't know what's going on with that. Russia's got one. Yeah. Brazil's got one, so I don't know what's happening. But Kano looks cool. I expected him to come back. He's kind of one of the main characters to the Mortal Kombat franchise. But a lot of people pointed out that he looks like younger, so that might play into the whole time travel aspect of the story. But yeah, Kano's returning, and then Tuesday, February 5th, we're getting that live stream revealing another character who is probably going to be Cabal.
Cool. Yeah, I saw some people on the comments were just saying like, oh, that doesn't look like our Kano. That doesn't look like Kano or like what they do to him. So I like how you said it looks like they're gonna do a little bit younger, and they'll probably play into the storyline. So people just gotta let them chill. Let's just see what happens in the story first, like before you judge the final character's version.
All right. Moving on to more kind of business stuff, both Sony and Microsoft. So Sony, they're starting to shift first-party development to focus on PS5.
Yes.
Makes sense. They said 18% of developers are actively developing for next-gen consoles already. With this shift to first-party development, obviously that means it's coming, we were predicting 2020. It's definitely not this year, or at least pretty sure it's not this year.
Yeah, I don't think
2020, 2021 perhaps. What do you guys think about this Sony moving towards first-party development for PS5?
I mean, I'm gonna buy it.
You're gonna buy it.
I'm gonna buy it because like all of my favorite games are usually on a PlayStation system.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what, like Uncharted and
Yes, Uncharted.
Last of Us.
Yes, Last of Us.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, Spider-Man.
I mean, Kingdom Hearts used to exclusively be on the PlayStation.
But now it's on Xbox.
Right. What other games were PS4 exclusive? Persona. I don't think Persona was on Xbox One.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So games like that.
Yeah.
Usually like JRPGs or like Japan-based games,
Mm-hmm.
they tended to be PlayStation exclusive.
Yes. With the whole Sony connection.
Yes.
So. Dorian, what do you think about this?
I'm excited about it. Just it seems like
Are you ready for a next generation console?
I'm ready for it, but honestly, I just got my Xbox One, so I'm chilling with that.
Xbox One X.
Xbox One X too, yeah. So I'm chilling with that right now. I'm not in a rush to get a new console, but
Thank God for the correction.
yeah, because I would have got crapped on. But yeah, so I'm excited for it. But this shows that they're not trying to beat Xbox to the punch to the next console, but I can see them like saying like, oh, Xbox, like they've been recruiting all of our people, and now they're forming up the super mega team. So like we gotta
quadruple A, not triple A, quadruple A.
So they're like, all right, so we gotta start making moves earlier than we expected or something, because they like Xbox, they're building up their super team. We're about to come with that heat next couple years. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so I'm excited to see what they do with this, because I'm not excited. My wallet's not excited about this, but I personally am. I'm just.
Well, it's going to be $60 less now because you're going to get Anthem.
Oh, true. Fuck.
Yeah,
okay. All right.
Are you excited to be on the Collider Games podcast for 3 weeks, telling people that you're gonna get the new PlayStation eventually?
Or Anthem. He's gonna say he's gonna get Anthem.
It'll be like 2 months. 2 months after, and then I'll be like, all right.
Yeah, Dorian kept saying he was gonna get Red Dead. He's like, this weekend.
Yeah, he needs to stop saying it, because the fact that he's saying it kind of like helps Phil and makes him feel like he did it already.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a jump. Like somebody needs to do a jump, like a cut of all of the previous Collider Games podcast. Just like, all right, I'm gonna get it. Yeah. I'm gonna get it. Like
you finally did. You finally did over the Christmas break and started playing. So this one's semi-related to this. We have Xbox.
Yes.
They are going big at E3 because Sony is going to be out. They had talked about they decided like, should we try and save money and scale back, whatnot, and they're like, screw it. Sony's not going to be there. We're going to go big. That leads me to believe, though, that they are not going to announce the next console, because why would they even have to decide that if it would be a no-brainer, right? Like, whether Sony's there or not, they would have been automatically, if they were going to announce a new console, they were going to go big no matter what, because it's a new console.
Yeah. Right.
So I have a feeling that they are not going to do any type of big reveal for the next console. I think they're going to wait until next year, because I think it's going to come out the end of 2020, and I think they're going to hold back. What do you think?
I don't think they're going to like reveal the next console or anything, but I think similar to what they did when they announced like the One X, but back when it was called Project Scorpio.
Right.
Like I think they might do something like that at this year's E3. Like, here's the next thing that we're working on, which you can expect soon.
Yeah.
It's the next console that we got for Xbox. They're not going to show anything, but they're just going to say, this is what we got in store. But I mean, I definitely believe this. If Sony's skipping out on E3, this is the time for Xbox, for Microsoft to be like, okay, let's give everything we got to get the sales push, to get people excited about maybe some exclusives they got in development. Literally, they don't even have to show stuff. They could just say, this game's happening, this game's happening, that game's happening, exclusive to Xbox, and people will be like, okay, here's my wallet, take the money. So yeah, this makes sense.
I totally agree with you, because I wanted to add on to that, because immediately when I read this, and just honestly, like, just the way that they were talking about how, like, yeah, it's gonna be like really awesome, and like we're gonna go big, it's gonna be like the best ever.
Yeah,
I was immediately brought back to to when they first announced the Xbox One.
Yes.
Like, do you guys remember this? Like, everybody was not happy. There was, people were upset about, like, you have to always be online, and they were pushing the Kinect that looked like a brick, and like, okay, do you all remember the iconic 20-second video that Sony released right? Of like, this is how you share a game. And then they hand it over and like, thanks, video's over. It was savage, iconic.
Yeah, so definitely for Microsoft, my thing is like, if they're going to go big and let's say they only kind of talk a little bit, they're not going to do the big reveal, at least I don't think so, of the next generation console because they need the game. They need to show game. That's the whole thing. The thing that Microsoft learned from this past generation, why they lost this generation, was that they didn't have enough first-party games exclusives to compete with Sony. So they had Halo and they had Gears, right? But Sony had a bunch more, and so they realized, okay, now we got to. They ended up purchasing a bunch of studios. They're forming that new what they call quadruple A studio. They don't have anything ready to show. You know what I mean? They're just starting to work on this thing. And I'm sure the console specs aren't even finalized yet.
Yeah, and I also remember that a lot of YouTubers in the gaming space, they made a very astute comment like from watching E3 saying that like that time Xbox was trying a little bit too hard to market Xbox as like an all-in-one home entertainment system.
Which I did not mind. I think people got upset for no reason.
Right, but I think the thing is that people felt like it was taking away from showing games.
Yeah, and then look what people do on their console now. They watch Netflix. They do all the stuff that Microsoft had talked about years ago.
I think I totally hear you. I would just say that like E3 is the place to show games, not to like spend too much time pushing the home entertainment system. Because it's like, if you can do it, like, that's great. Like, that's an awesome plus thing. But I don't care because I'm not going to buy it if you don't have games.
Well, obviously, you're going to have games as well. And that's what I think they're rectifying for this next generation.
Yes.
But for me, like, I remember hearing the announcement. I thought all that stuff was great. I wasn't so sure about the games thing. But now, like, with, like... It's very cool now that I can sign on here at the office with my account and play my games that I purchased, you know, and I don't have to worry about, having to
rebuy them.
Rebuy them or anything like that. So
yes,
I'm excited. I'm glad Xbox is making moves. It's kind of like it's like how Marvel and DC. Marvel, I compare Marvel to Sony, and then DC is Xbox, and now how DC had that, how the first couple movies didn't hit as well, but now they're making money. Aquaman, all of that, they're on the rise now. So DC and Xbox, they're making moves. I see you, fam.
And also the project, because you mentioned the Xbox One was Project Scorpio, right? Xbox One X was Project Scorpio. The code name for this one is Project Scarlet, and they're looking at two different versions of the console. One that doesn't have a disc in it, or disc player, sorry. And then one that does. I mean, they just want to have one box that's cheaper for people to buy,
which is great. It's a good idea.
It's a good idea because it'll be a streaming box, and then one that a disc-free streaming box. Another is a console that's more powerful.
I would honestly even consider getting the disc-free one because I get a lot of games digitally now. I mean, I do like owning the physical copy though, so maybe I won't. But it's a great idea. A lot of people out there buy games digitally, so why not just get out a console that will save you money where it doesn't have a disc slot or a disc slot. So
it's fun. It's funny because like back in the day. I'm older than all of you guys, so my back in the day is much older than you guys, but they used to have first-party games, but they were so limited. So, like, Sega versus Nintendo back in the day. It's like, well, Sega has Sonic and, like, maybe a couple other games, and Nintendo has Mario and a couple other games, like Mario Kart and Zelda. It's not like how it is now. Like, the way it is now with Sony, it's like they have this game's exclusive, you know what I mean? They have so many, and Microsoft was, I guess... didn't realize that, so they didn't have as many for this generation, and they realized, okay, next generation. So now we're gonna have this battle where it's like, okay, because before it's like if you had one system, you were missing out on a few things, but not a lot. Now it's like, well, you're just missing out on a ton of stuff. So if you have, I think in the next generation, if let's say you only have a PlayStation, well, you're going to miss out on all these Microsoft exclusives. If you only have an Xbox, you're going to miss out on all these PlayStation exclusives. It's just it's just a big mess where it's like, okay, now you're going to have a Nintendo, a Xbox, and a PS4.
Yeah, pretty much. Or or you wait until Xbox the exclusivity is over and it goes on PC. But by that time, it's kind of out of fashion, and like everyone's playing different stuff.
Ever since I started video editing, I've stopped playing games on my computer because I don't want anything to mess up with my editing software. I used to be a PC gamer and a console gamer mixed together. Now I'm strictly console. So
I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what upsets me sometimes, though, that PlayStation users will always say. It's like, oh, Xbox is coming out with another Gears of War and another Halo. But at the same time, they're like, oh, hell yes, a new God of War game? You're telling me Uncharted 5's in development? Let's get that go. Last of Us Part 2? Hell yes. You know, it's like, yeah, PlayStation does the same thing. You know, there's a lot of great franchises. They're gonna milk them. So
yeah, obviously.
Don't judge Xbox users for that. PlayStation does it as well.
I think the only thing Microsoft needs to do, though, is get more of those franchises.
For sure.
Because they only have those two big ones.
They need their Spider-Man.
Yes.
Or, you know, they need their
Uncharted.
Last of Us, Uncharted.
Yeah.
For sure.
And that's what they're doing because they hired a bunch of those people.
Yeah.
They need their, like, Red Dead Redemption, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which, you know, talking about the new Xbox, you're talking about the discless version. This leads us into the next story. Apple is reportedly planning on a gaming subscription service. This is much like we talked about on a previous episode. I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. We talked about Amazon also going into that marketplace.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. So, because we're talking about like the future, at least the way I'm picturing it, perhaps is actually consoleless. It is, you buy a box that is powerful enough to stream and then also interact with the inputs of your controller, but everything being done in the cloud. And this is something I think Microsoft is going to kind of talk about at E3 this year with Project xCloud, I think. I can't remember. Google's has one of their own as well. And so the whole idea that Amazon and Apple are going to get into is, no, we're not making a console. You subscribe, and then all these games are available to you, and then you just use your, you know, you probably have to buy some sort of controller that integrates to, I don't know if it's a future version of Apple TV or a future version of Amazon's Fire TV or whatnot, so that you're playing the games through that. All right, Caboose, what do you think of Apple also joining this kind of gaming subscription service that's going to be, I think, the future, like, kind of streaming games?
It's intriguing, but I don't think they stand a chance.
Okay.
This is like it's a concept, but I don't know if I'm investing too much into it.
Yeah, because like we know how much they charge for their phones now, right? Yeah. Like, how much are they going to charge for this?
No,
I don't know if Apple loyalists are going to be on top of this one, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm on the opposite side. This is exciting for me because if they like, I already have a Apple iPhone and like I use Apple Music and I'm subscribed like that. So if they can find a way to incorporate like a payment plan within the stuff I'm already paying for, where it doesn't like add too much onto it, then I'm all for it because I'm using that college discount right now. So I already got a discount. So if they can add on to that, then I'm all for it because they're already venturing out into TV and doing their own original movies and stuff like that. So incorporating gaming is just, I feel like that's the next thing that they could do. So I trust Apple because they pretty much own me. So
you signed your soul, like Ariel to Ursula.
When I downloaded iTunes for the first time, I agreed to sell my soul.
Yeah, it's probably in there somewhere.
Is terrible. That's one of the worst programs ever made.
I think they would have to have a very enticing trial system in order to draw people in. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and they have to get third-party developers. They need, like, the Red Dead Redemption 2s, you know, the Call of Duty. You know what I mean? They need those games. They need those games on those systems. I just think they're probably just preparing for the future because I think initially the technology development, the research, the infrastructure to get this working is going to be costly. But once that is starting to work, I think then it's like you're just making money because then you're just a service that like provides basically it's almost like you're streaming Netflix or whatever. They're just sending you the footage, the video footage. They're doing all the processing on their end, and so I don't know. And all the companies, they want these like $10 a month, $15 a month, 20. You know what I mean? They want you to be subscribed. I mean, Xbox has their Xbox Game Pass, which I think is $10 a month, and you have access to older games. But a lot of those older games are AAA titles. They're just older stuff. You know, I think Fallout 4 is on there. I think the Halo games are on there.
Yeah, they're on there.
So it's one of those things where perhaps they're preparing for the future that, you know, a console-less kind of thing, or maybe not console-less, because I think you still need some sort of device, but like I guess not having all the processing power within the system that you buy, so the barrier of entry is like $50 or $100 versus $300, $400.
I think I am just a little bit worried though, because like no matter how powerful your system is, if your internet can't keep up with pushing all of those pixels, that's not going to matter.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things they definitely will have to keep in mind. But at the same time, I mean, they were, you know, that was the concern about Netflix before, and, you know, but now it's like tons of people have Netflix and streaming 4K and HD, and so it's just, I feel like internet service is going to get better. I mean, it's not as advanced as other countries. Other countries, because they're smaller, the infrastructure, like a place like Korea or Japan or something like that, they can easily, you know, upgrade their internet, get super fast speeds versus the U.S. where you've got like miles and hundreds of miles of like nothing. And
Korea has such good internet.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, the infrastructure has to get better in order for this to actually work. But I see like Apple, Amazon. I mean, those are two of the biggest companies in the world. If they're going to hop into this space, there's a reason. They see money signs. They don't. It's not like they care about gaming. Like they care about money. And if they see money, that's where they're gonna go.
And I could see them easily then just incorporating, besides the gaming subscription, like them trying to beat out and be the next Twitch, because like mostly everybody has an iPhone or an Apple device regardless, so they can use that as their own like try to beat out Twitch and Mixer. They can start having their own type of streaming service for gamers who already, and then they can just sign in using their Apple ID. Dog, Apple, hire me.
Oh, you're gonna be rich. One more thing that I did want to say though is that like I think another concern that I thought of, because I actually did major in programming, is like the fact of coding, because the thing is that like Apple is really gonna have to convince people and work really hard to make this like really marketable and accessible to people, especially to gamers that have been purchasing all the other consoles for forever, because it's like, well, if you have a game that's coded for Apple, since I know that like it works very differently between PC and Apple, like how like that most likely means that they're going to be exclusive games unless like they make like an official emulator. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely something they're going to have to work out to make it easier for people to port their games over, like the AAA titles to port over to whatever systems that Apple is going to set up, or Amazon, or for that matter. I think something like the Microsoft project xCloud has a head start because they already have that relationship with the third party. So they're going to make something that's compatible with their already existing Xbox device, and therefore I think the port over will be much easier. But one last thing on this, like I've seen this at work in terms of like the concept of it, because right now you can load up your laptop or desktop PC, and you can stream from your Xbox, if your Xbox is on, use the Xbox controller and play through your internet at home, like through your Wi-Fi. So that obviously that's going to be fast because you're there with that connection, but it works. Like what I'm playing, like I'll bring up my Surface Book and I'll play a game and I'm using the controller, and it's just it's basically an interface for it. So it actually, the technology works. It's about getting the infrastructure to work.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to the last thing is Twitter questions.
Yes, sir.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. What do we got?
All right, so this one is for Dennis. Okay. He says Joel Blade GTR asks, "Do you think Bethesda can bounce back from the disaster that was caused by the latest Fallout 76 patch, or is this game now beyond saving?"
He's wearing a Vault-Tec shirt right now.
Everyone knows that I'm a huge Fallout fan, and I was looking forward to Fallout 76, and it just has been very disappointing. I think the recent patches, like there was bugs that they fixed in the patch before that are now back in the latest one. It's just like, it's rough, man.
Are there patches for the merch?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
It's it's rough. This just was not a well thought out plan. I think, like we had talked about Nintendo and Metroid Prime 4, I think they just yanked the plug on it and said it wasn't up to their standards and they're going to restart from the beginning. They had already been working on it for 2 years and they're like, screw it, it's not good enough. That's the type of approach that I think Bethesda should have had on this. Obviously, it's a tough thing to do. You have, investors and you have all these people and employees and you have, marketing behind it. It's just one of those things that I think should have happened. But I guess maybe when the pressure is too much, they didn't. So I don't know. I don't know if it can be recoverable, to be honest with you. There's just too many good games out there that are occupied. And not just games, movies, television. There's so many things that are trying to attract your attention. It's hard to be like, well, let's wait until this one's good. Like we know it's going to get there eventually, and we'll see. But I just don't think any of these new patches are doing them any favors when old bugs are resurfaced.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. All right, so Eel Shatter, I can't read, ask, what was the first game you remember beating? Also, they ask Uncharted versus Tomb Raider.
First game that I beat.
Uncharted, first of all.
Oh yeah, that's an easy one.
Yeah, that's for me. First game that I beat, man, that's a great question. I think the youngest person on the panel. So
yeah.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 21.
21.
Oh shit.
22 in March.
Okay. Carry on.
I'm trying to think. Honestly,
yeah, it would have to be like Spyro or something.
Honestly,
oh my God, that's so like new. Not new, but
I don't even think I finished Spyro.
Oh man, the first thing that I think maybe comes up in my head is Halo Combat Evolved, because when I was younger, my brother used to play a lot of Halo, and he was like, "You need to play this game," and I got super into Halo. Like I freaking loved Halo 1. So I think if I can remember right, that might be it. But I don't know. I did play a lot of Nintendo stuff back in the day as well. So
I think it might be for me. Beautiful Joe.
Oh wow!
Have y'all played that game?
Yeah.
That I think that might be the first one I can like remember like completely beating as a kid. I think it's Beautiful Joe, or I guess if you're counting console games, then I guess Beautiful Joe. But if you're counting like Game Boy games and all that stuff, then it probably was either like Pokemon Gold, Pokemon Yellow, or Pokemon Red. It was probably one of those was the first actual game I completed. But console wise, I think Beautiful Joe. What about you?
Yeah, I would say like maybe I actually don't remember finishing any of my Pokemon Game Boy games. So I think the one that I remember that's the oldest game that I know is Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
For PC, because back in the day you would play a ton of games on your PC.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I played a game called Karateka. I remember beating that game. There was a Bruce Lee game I beat as well. Nice. But I mean, these graphics, I mean, this is old school,
Yeah.
They've got I think like maybe like 4 colors total.
Yeah.
Maybe 16 now. I don't even think 16, like 4 colors total.
Damn.
Arcade games, like I remember the Star Wars game. Yeah. that type of stuff.
Ninja Turtles, X-Men.
That was well for me. That was a little bit later. So
okay.
Yeah, on console, I remember beating like Bionic Commando and the original Metal Gear Solid. The original Metal Gear Solid is hard. That game is hard. It's like a top-down view, and it's like your guy's like in a room, and every room you gotta be like hiding all the time.
Was it Metal Gear Solid 1 where you had to do that crazy thing, like you had to switch your controller port or something? Or
I don't remember.
Or did that come a little bit later?
It sounds like the first or second one.
Okay.
I don't quite remember.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about Metal Gear before they added the Solid. It was Metal Gear.
Oh.
It's like
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a top-down. Like you're a little dude and you shoot little old.
When it was
all
like
right.
just pixels.
Yeah. What's next?
Okay, so it wasn't the Switch controller one.
Switch controller.
Sorry, not sorry. The switching controllers, not Nintendo.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Octavius Maximus asks, with the success of Resident Evil 2 remake, what other classic games would you like to see get remade?
Oh, that's a good one.
God. Final Fantasy X. I want Final Fantasy X.
Okay.
It was so beautiful.
For me, Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes.
But
yes.
turn the system, because that was actually a turn-based that made it look like it was real time, but it was turn-based. Make it a real-time system like Mass Effect and Dragon Age, and redo the graphics.
Yes.
Update the graphics, and then put in voice acting, because they didn't have voice acting, right?
They did have voice acting.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jennifer Hale was Ballista.
Okay. Oh, you didn't have voice acting for your character, though?
No.
Okay. But just upgrade everything on it. I'd love to play that storyline with it updated, and then do what Resident Evil did. Resident Evil, like, they changed the maps around so it wasn't, you couldn't remember. It was like, it made it different, and they added to the story. They added cutscene. They added a lot to it, so that made it feel the same but also new and fresh. So Knights of the Republic.
Okay, what about you, Caboose?
Honestly, like most of the games that I would have said already got a remake.
Yeah.
You know?
Like Last of Us.
Last of Us, Halo got a remake. You know, so I don't really got nothing here. Most of my choices that it already happened.
Yeah, I was in the same boat, so I kind of cheated, and I was thinking of so the PlayStation 3 game, PlayStation All-Stars, I would love I would love a remake of that, maybe for the PlayStation 5, and we can incorporate Spider-Man and get all those other characters.
I like this curveball answer.
Yeah,
I like this curveball answer.
I would like a remake of that game, because I play that game so much on my PS3, and then I actually still have it, but I don't have a PS3 anymore. But
all right.
But yeah, I think I would like a remake of that one.
Fair enough.
All right. Next question is, speaking of Last of Us, he says, do you guys think Last of Us 2 will come out sometime this year, and will it be better than the first game? Thanks for reading my question on the podcast. And that question was from Zach Kelsey.
Okay. This year?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll
say yes. I'll say yes. I think Cyberpunk 2077 is the one that I'm not so sure about, because they've been working on it for so long. And also, it's just when you hear about what they're trying to make that game be,
it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's coming out this year. But Last of Us 2, I think so.
I think so too, and I think it will be better than the first game. I'm putting it out there now. I think it will be better. I have high expectations.
I think especially with the conversations happening of the PS5 already, I think that's what's informing me agreeing with you too.
Okay.
All right.
I actually think the opposite. I think because PlayStation's skipping out on E3 this year, they're missing out on a big opportunity to market the game one more time.
So you don't think it's ready?
I don't think it's coming out this year. So I think we're probably gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But will it be better than Last of Us 1? I sure hope so. I would want it to be. Everything we've seen so far looks freaking incredible. But you got to show me my main guy. You know, I need to see the main. What was his name? Joel? Is that yeah.
Yes.
All right.
I want to see him. You know.
All right. Last question.
All right. I got it. All right. We'll end it on the Anthem one.
Okay.
27 Poker asks, what are your thoughts on Anthem's multi-stage releases like Battlefield 5 and the online outrage over the leak scan pricing, considering the microtransactions?
We talked about the microtransactions, but the multi-stage release in terms of levels, that they're going to release different levels, or
I think they meant how they're releasing like the demo, and then
there was a chart.
Yeah,
there was a chart that came out and it was listing the different ways you can access Anthem. So I think if you have like EA Origins Premier, you can get you can play Anthem on the 15th. If you have EA Access, you can play a 10-hour trial on the 15th. There's like a whole bunch of different convoluted mess of how the hell you can play Anthem. The main thing you need to know is it comes out February 22nd. Okay,
yes. Like, and you can play the demo this weekend.
Now. Honestly, I know some people are a little upset of like, well, why is it so messy? It's just like
they're trying to make money. That's what they're trying to do.
Like don't worry. The main thing you need to know is February 22nd is available for everyone. Okay?
Yeah, I don't like it. They should just have they should just have a demo.
Yeah.
And I also don't even like this demo this close to the game release because we saw what happened with Fallout 76.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point.
Like, dude, have it before, man. Get your ducks in a row. Because remember, with the VIP access, you had issues getting on there.
Well, to soften the blow on that a little bit, they were doing a lot of alpha testing for a while now.
Okay.
A lot of
December they did.
Yeah, there was some private alpha testing I've been hearing for a little while now. It's just the kind of open to the public for the most part stuff has been from the VIP demo and the demo going on this weekend. Yeah, so. But I don't like it either. Just give me a date when the game comes out and let me play it, and that's it.
And they have like pre-order the game, you get the access to the demo. They do that. I understand that, but I remember back in the day when demos were all free.
Yeah.
And they all came out the same time, and everyone could get them and play them. Because the whole point of the demo was to get you to buy the game. So, all right. That's it for this episode. I want to thank everyone for joining us. We're going to actually have a special episode of me, Caboose, and Mark Fernandez talking about Red Dead Redemption 2. Finally. It's taken a while.
Finally.
I mean, the game is long. I think I end up logging in 65 to 75 hours on this damn thing. I loved it, by the way. So there's a little spoiler there for what we're going to talk about. But we're going to talk about the intricacies of the characters, the storylines, the gameplay, and all that stuff. So be on the lookout for that, both on the podcast and on the games channel. Chris, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Where can people find you? You
can find me on all social media at OneWingedChris. And I'm going to be, when I have more time, I'm going to be streaming Kingdom Hearts 3 on OneWingedChris _ because it was taken without the underscore.
On Twitch.
Yes.
Okay.
All my social media is OneWingedChris. Thanks so much.
All right. Dorian?
Guys, you know where to find me at Twitter. On Twitter, it's Dorian Parks and Rec because Parks and Rec is better than The Office, but make sure to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And then you can find me on Instagram at Dorian Parks.
And Caboose, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at CabooseEK, and right here covering all things gaming on Collider Games.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHeroR, Instagram Dennis.tzng. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/ColliderGames. Also subscribe to our podcast feed. We're on the Collider Factory feed, and we have podcasts every week, Collider Games. We also, on the channel, we have a ton of videos. Every day we have a video. Caboose puts out a video, whether it's a news piece, a guide, a walkthrough, and then we also have reviews, previews, all kinds of good stuff. We actually...
Oh yeah, our Rage 2, we got to finally talk about that and give our first impressions. So make sure to check that out as well.
Yeah. So, all right. Until next time. See you guys later.